Alrighty, how is everyone doing today? Welcome to my channel. This is an educational channel, and we check out great theories and concepts and discoveries that would really help you out if you only knew about them. But unfortunately, they have been suppressed, and the powers that be don't want you to know about them. Um, I've taken it upon myself to try to resurrect some of these ideas, some of these concepts, some of these authors, uh, some of these tour de forces and earth shattering discoveries, and bring them to you here on this channel. This is a feature that we have that is called the Q-tip of the spear, where I kind of recap some of the podcasts I've heard in the last day or so um, relating to the info war, the battle against the globalists, and especially the people that talk about that 17th letter and decode some of the drops. Um, Now, my Q tip for the day is that everybody should go and start learning about the reciprocal system of theory by Dewey B. Larson. Mr. Larson has a theory of everything. He has one specific theory, and he plugs it into every subject. So he has books on physics and chemistry and astronomy, and he also has books on economics and metaphysics, or at least chapters of books on metaphysics, um, philosophy, religion, and dream interpretation, psychology. Uh, and some of his followers have books and articles on fields even more kind of far flung. A lot of conspiracy thinking and esoteric, crypto archaeology and the like. And especially this guy named Dr. Bruce Perret, who also goes as Daniel Phoenix 3. He's unfortunately passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, and Larson also passed away back in 1990. So, um, but Mr. Larson, because I heard the podcasters talking and debating about a number of different subjects today that the reciprocal system would shed light on. The shape of the Earth, round. Well, even the flat Earth is round. You know, the flat Earth is round just like a pancake. Um, but the hollow Earth is seems to be also a contender. And I would also throw in the platonic solid Earth, because if you had a platonic solid shape, then it would be flat in most places, but it would have like joints that would create horizons. Um, but then also discussions about time travel and discussions um, having to do with uh, uh, economic discussions. Um, and now, what was this last thing that I heard discussed? Um, oh, I think J.D. Vance, the vice president, that yesterday, said something to the effect that he didn't believe in aliens and he thought that aliens were demons. Um, uh, the reciprocal system definitely, some of the articles from Daniel Phoenix 3 discusses a lot of that. I would contend probably the exact opposite. Um, but and I'm uh, highly skeptical of that commentary there from Mr. Vance. Um, but you know, my opinion aside, the beauty of the reciprocal system is that once you kind of understand how it works, you can make these determinations for yourself. That the answers come out through your reasoning process. Once you kind of have the general mechanism of the universe in order. And you can also check out my videos on this channel. I have almost 600 videos on the reciprocal system on this channel, and many of them I'm going over Larson's books and many articles that were written by Bruce Perret and Daniel Phoenix 3 and KVK Nehru and some of the others. So my channel is the one-stop shop for your reciprocal system needs. Just kind of peruse the playlists. I'd start with number one and go from there. But just real briefly, the basic idea behind the reciprocal system is that um, the ancient Greeks thought that the universe was made out of matter. They boiled everything down to atoms. And then Einstein comes along and uh, for him, well, it looks like matter, but it's really energy. Matter is really a slowed down form of energy. And so energy is the real fundamental substance. Larson looks at Einstein's Larson comes along, shortly after Einstein, within 20 or 25 years. About 1930 is when Larson began to research his ideas, to formulate his ideas on this. And Larson looks at E equals mc squared. Well, energy can be converted to matter and vice versa. That means that neither one of those things is the most fundamental thing. The fundamental would be what underlies both of them. And that is really kind of like the c squared part, the speed of light squared. And Larson's idea is that the universe is made out of motion. Motion is the relationship between time and space. The car is moving 10 miles per hour, 10 miles of space in 1 hour of time. That is speed. That is a specific kind of motion, a very simple kind of motion. But you can turn that upside down and you can say, it took me 3 hours to move that pile 10 feet. That's 3 hours of time in 10 feet of space. That is energy, time over space. And it turns out that all of our fundamental scientific quantities are kinds of motion, and they all have their time space signatures. For example, acceleration. I dropped the rock out the window and it fell at 9.8 meters per second per second. That is acceleration. That is space per time squared. And then the inverse of that would be um, what you would call momentum. Uh, time over space squared. And then we would have matter. Matter would be time to the third over space to the third. Basically, Larson's universe is 3 and or 4 dimensional, basically 0, 1, 2, and 3. So you can think of it as either 3 or 4 dimensions. And all of our fundamental quantities are um, relationships between space and time or motion. And that's the reciprocal system. It's the reciprocal relationship between space and time. Space and time are identical to one another, except that they are inverses of one another or reciprocals of one another. So they have the same qualities. What we know about space is that it's three-dimensional or four. And what we know about time is that it progresses. It's always getting later and later and later and later. And so therefore we can say that there is an aspect of space that is also progressing. It's always getting farther and farther and farther apart. And there is an aspect of time that is three or four dimensional. So that is kind of where you get started. And I would go check out my videos on the subject to get an introduction. And you will be thanking me for turning you on to this universe of motion that is very, very exciting because it is quite elegant. Once you kind of clear away your um, all the stuff that you thought you learned in high school and college science classes and look at it with some new eyes, you, I think, will be able to see how elegant the system is and how well it fits together and um, how well Larson really did in putting his works together. His books are difficult to read, not because they're poorly written, but because it's a very difficult thing to come up with an entirely new concept on anything. He had to come up with all kinds of new words or different ways of using words, and had to come up with different notations that he didn't really have. There aren't any really do-overs. You just have to come up with it and hope it's the right choice. And he made a few wrong choices. I think some of his followers have corrected some of the mistakes that he made. But as he said, the system itself is correct. Whether I have applied the system correctly or not is another matter. I may have made some mistakes in the way I applied the system, but those mistakes will become clear over time because the system is basically self-correcting. And so I firmly believe that the reciprocal system is the science of the 21st, 22nd, and the third millennium, you know, um, and maybe the fourth and fifth too. It is that this is what we are going to base our educational system on once people get up to speed. Unfortunately, Larson has been suppressed and is hardly out there, and the fact that his works are difficult doesn't help. But it's definitely worth your time. So that is my Q-tip for the day. For you truthers out there, dig on Dewey Larson, the reciprocal system of theory. All right, stay tuned for more videos today, and check me out on Q-tip of the Spear tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in today. Like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a great day.